All right, let's take a look today at lesson 331. I'm going to be talking to you and sharing some strategies and information about dividing with rational numbers. The first thing that we are going to take a look at is 387. What mathematical operation does a fraction represent? And we have done that. We've talked about that time and time again in our past lessons, talked about how it represents division. Okay, and then the next thing that I'm going to ask that you do is we're going to be rewriting each division problem as a fraction. So this first division problem can be rewritten to divided by 8 or 2/8. This next one can be written 72 divided by 5 or 72/5. And this last one can be written 51 divided by 94 or 51/94. We have a question, a clarification question, a question for us to analyze this whole idea of fractions and what can actually be in the denominator and the numerator. And our question is, why do you think the denominator of a fraction cannot equal 0? And I'd like you to think about that for a moment or two. And in my mind, when we are dividing things, we have a number, for example, 72. We're dividing it into 5 portions or 5 parts. If I had 72 divided into 0 parts, that is kind of beyond my logic. So I'm going to write down that you cannot divide into 0 parts. And then our next question for this problem is, when would it be most useful to use a fraction to find the answer instead of long division? And again, I'd like you to think about this for a moment or two. And to me, if we have smaller fractions that are easy to convert to decimals, that would be one possibility. For example, 1/2, I know I can convert pretty easily to 5/10. 3/4, I can pretty easily convert to 75/100. And then our last two problems for the day are we are going to need to solve these two equations or expressions. The very first thing that I do here is I change this into a top-heavy fraction, so this becomes 17/8 divided by 1/3, and that becomes -17/8 multiplied by 3/1 if I do the keep, change, flip method. And 17 times 3 is 51/8. And that is going to be a negative because this fraction here is a negative. Then our second one, oh, and if you want to simplify this, we could change it to -6 and 3/8 would be the better way to write that in simplified form. The second one and the last problem for today, I can rewrite this as, let's see, 4 times -1 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So this is -7/4. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to keep, change, flip it. So I keep that. I change this to multiply. flip this one so it's -5/2, and that equals 35 over 8. And because both of the factors, both of the fractions that I'm multiplying or dividing are positive, this is going to be a positive answer. And 35/8 can be rewritten as 4 3/8.